With me I have Dr. Mustafa Barghouti, the president of the Palestinian National Initiative and a member of the Palestinian Parliament. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us here on RT. Will Palestinians still push ahead in their statehood bid, despite the fact that it seems a two-thirds majority in support of it is highly unlikely?
There can be no vote in the Security Council now because the United States already obstructed it by denying the committee the right to ask for a vote.
Has American pressure paid off?
Yes and no. From one side, many countries are doing what the United States and Israel want. But at the same time, I think many of them feel shameful about it. We've seen an example of that, of the French vote in UNESCO, where France says it will abstain in the Security Council, yet it voted for us in the UNESCO. Many countries like Spain and France and Belgium and others have their people on our side. Their governments cannot go against the will of their own people.
But if the people are with the Palestinians, why then is it so difficult to get a two-thirds majority in the Security Council?
Because the United States still has the power of pressuring many countries, because the Israeli lobby is playing its cards and pressuring many world leaders, and because of the hypocrisy of Western politics. You know, they speak about freedom of the Syrian people and respect of human rights in Libya, but they fail to recognize that this is also needed for Palestine.
Once you have membership in the General Assembly, you'll have access to the International Criminal Court. How do you plan to use this? And do you think the Israelis are concerned by it?
They are totally concerned about this. This is maybe one of the main reasons why they are trying to obstruct our membership in the United Nations. Why? Because they know they have committed war crimes. Why? Because they know that many of their leaders and officers and army generals have committed crimes against humanity. And I think we will do everything we can to get these guys one day to the court, to the International Court of Justice.
When President Obama came to power, there were high hopes that the United States would play a positive role in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Do you see his opposition to the statehood bid as a stab in the back?
Totally. We see it as a stab in the back, but also we see it as a great failure, big failure of an American president who failed to respect his own words. He himself promised that Palestine should become a member of the UN by November 2011. And now he's not only not voting for us, but he's leading a war against our membership. What the American administration is doing and what the American Congress is doing is in total contradiction with everything they speak about in terms of their principles of respecting human rights and self-determination and the principles of freedom. You see, the Palestinian issue has become, in a way, some kind of an instrument or some kind of a method to explore the real positions of each country. The cost of what Mr. Obama did and his administration has done has been that the United States has lost its position as a mediator in the Middle East process.
Just how difficult is it to go back to negotiations against the backdrop of the UN statehood bid?
It's not difficult to go to negotiations. It's impossible. As long as Israel is allowed to continue to build settlements, as long as Netanyahu's government is the government we have, there will be no negotiations. And that's why I feel sorry for the waste of money and that the quartet is spending so much taxpayers' money on traveling and moving and coming and going without any results. As long as the people in the quartet, the governments in the quartet, as long as they don't decide to pressure Israel seriously to stop settlement activities, we will see no progress.
Just how much of a mandate does the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas have to negotiate on behalf of the Palestinian people? Or has his position in the statehood bid been weakened?
His speech in the United Nations gave him a lot of support, but did not give similar support to his political movement. People gave him support because they thought he represented Palestinian dignity and Palestinian resilience. And he can continue to do that if he immediately moves in the direction of national reconciliation and national unity.
Is Hamas ready for national unity?
Yes, I think most of the people in Hamas and in Fatah are ready. What they need to see is a courage of their leaders. What they need to see is daring acts taken by their leaders where they would put where they can put the Palestinian national interest above their own factional and partisan interests.
In a conversation with Obama, the French President Nicolas Sarkozy called the Israeli Premier Netanyahu a liar. Do you think that there is disappointment with Israel among its allies? And what options does this leave Israel with?
Well, Israel is moving on a very wrong path. And the problem in Israel is that it's not just Netanyahu. It's the total shift to the right among the Israeli public and I have an explanation to that. Up till now, the Israeli public is benefiting from occupation, is benefiting from the apartheid system, is benefiting from confiscating our land and our water. 90% of our water is confiscated by them. With the passage of every day, with the creation of every new settlement block, Israel is killing the very last opportunity of two-state solution, which means they will have to deal with one final left solution, and that is one-state solution, which means they can never dream of something called the Jewish state, which means they have to respect a situation where they might not be even a majority inside one democratic state. That is the price that Israel is paying if they continue this path.
Will Israel suffer if economic problems continue to mount in the United States?
I believe so. I believe so because the United States is becoming weaker with the passage of every day. Unfortunately, it makes some forces in the United States, like neocons, more aggressive. Unfortunately, this economic weakness is driving some people in the United States towards very dangerous military adventures, like attacking Iran, for instance, because they think if they control oil completely, they will control energy, and this way they can control the economy of Russia and China and many other countries in this world.
With Israel's isolation growing, are you concerned that it could take an even more aggressive stance against the Palestinians?
I think they are already aggressive enough. And their acts of war crimes that took place in Gaza are beyond any description. Their policy in the occupied territories of a system of apartheid that is much worse than the apartheid system that prevailed in South Africa at one point of time is shameful. If I was an Israeli, I would feel very shameful.
What about internal problems that the Israeli government is facing, particularly vis-à-vis the social protests? Is the search for an external enemy, whether it be Iran or Palestine, a way to divert attention away from the problems the government faces at home?
This is one possibility, and I think Netanyahu and Barak are trying to divert attention from their internal social problems, from their internal divisions, by creating a war maybe with Iran, or by mobilizing the United States to conduct a war on Iran. That's their game. And each time you speak to them about the Palestinian issue, they start speaking about Iran.
Do you think Israel would attack Iran?
I think they are looking for an opportunity to do that. And probably their preferred scenario is that the United States attacks Iran first, and then they contribute. Or they attack Iran first and then drag the United States into a war with Iran. What Israel is doing today is a continuation of their policy that was declared back in 1990-1991. The dual containment of Iraq and Iran. They finished with Iraq, now they want to contain Iran. And I think they are trying to proceed with that because they want to have the possibility of becoming the super regional power. I don't think they will succeed.
Do you think there's a chance that Turkey might one day replace Israel as the US's main ally in this region? If you look, for example, at it hosting the NATO radar, at its turning its back on Iran and Syria, it certainly seems as if Turkey is wanting to play a greater role in the region.
Turkey always was an American ally. It's not new. It was always a member of NATO. But I think I see the changes in Turkey in a more positive way. I think Turkey, you see, in the 70s, Israel had two big allies in the region, Turkey and Iran. And then they neutralized Egypt through Camp David Accords. So they were in heaven. Then they lost Iran. Now they've lost Turkey and Egypt. I see all these things as positive changes. I don't see the Turkish role as negative one. I think the change in Turkey and Egypt can practically change the whole regional situation. But there is one obstacle here which prevents this vision. The main obstacle that is the Palestinian issue. And I am sure that the vast majority of Turkish people are with Palestine, as much as the vast majority of Egyptians and Moroccans and Tunisians. What happened in the UN was very important. It showed and revealed that the Arab Spring and the regional spring did not make the Palestinian issue a marginal issue. On the contrary, it is still in the center of all issues. So the future of the stability of this region, of peace in this region, of economic development and cooperation in this region is related directly to solving the Palestinian issue and allowing Palestinians to be free from occupation and having their right for freedom as well.
Dr. Mustafa Barghouti, thank you very much for joining us here on RT.
Thank you.